Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh, I love the energy. Thank you again for your patience. I got a little caught up on Valley Boulevard, so I really appreciate all of you breathing through it and kind of changing up the schedule for me. So again, my name is Kamille Soler. That was an amazing introduction. I hope I lived up to it. That's the goal. And if I could have all of you, I'm going to make you a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to have you all stand up right now for me, please. All right. Oh, the groan. I know it's so hard. Your back hurts. Your knees. Oh, I like the energy up here, though. She's ready. She's ready.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. I want you to roll your shoulders back a little bit. Kind of open up a little. Take a deep breath in. Inhale. Exhale out. Take one more deep breath. Inhale. Exhale out. So what this exercise is, these 2 seconds that we just took, is what I call a reset. So you've been sitting there, you've been passive, just been absorbing a lot of information, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into it, and we're not just going to learn something, but we're actually going to transform. We're going to transform your style, not just with communication, but with networking, and what that really means. In fact, I would challenge us all, we're going to change the word, keep standing, we're going to change the word networking to developing relationship events. And you're kind of like, that's kind of corny. But really, that's what it is. How many of you have been to a networking event in the past 2 weeks? Say aye.
Aye.
How many of you plan to go to a networking event in the next 2 weeks? Say aye.
Aye.
And you don't necessarily have to voice your opinion out to this, but how many of you kind of don't like going to networking events? Okay, there you go. Perfect. And you have no idea how many real estate entrepreneurs, and really entrepreneurs in general that I speak to, that say, yes, networking events is what brings in the most business for me. I'd say a good percentage of my year, if not 70 to 80% of my money on the table, comes from the business relationships that I develop through these events. But I hate going to them. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Why do we not like going to networking events? Sorry, what was that? What was your name, sir? Bob. So Bob says it takes you out of your comfort zone, kind of like standing up right now as you're listening to me, right? What else? Why? Thank you, Bob. Yes, sir.
I'm shy.
Shy. Shy?
Shy.
You're shy.
He's shy.
Yes. I can tell by the hat that you're very shy. Yes. So yes, you're right. Some people are more introverts. They're definitely a lot shyer. It's harder for them. How do I even open up the conversation? What do I say? There's already a group talking. What do I do? That's so awkward. One more. What else? Why do we not like going to networking events?
Just difficulty communicating with people.
Difficulty communicating with people. In what sense?
Well, some people are just so introverted, they go, am I properly dressed? Are they going to think I'm funny? Or are they going to think I'm ugly or too short?
Right?
Insecurity.
Insecurities, fear, right? What does fear stand for? Does anybody know, actually?
False and...
No, it's F everything and run. Yes, it's false evidence appearing real. Thank you. So something to jot down for yourself. You can all have a seat. Thank you so much. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about how to quote-unquote network like a pro, or what I'd like to say is really develop relationships like a pro. Because you're not networking. And the reason I'm not going to go into tactics right away, it's really easy to go into tools and tactics. We can sit here all day and talk about how to give an elevator pitch, how to walk into a room confidently, what to say when you approach them, and those are all fabulous things to talk about. But everything in life is 20% mechanics and 80% what? Does anyone know?
Practice.
I had practice over here from Brian. Habit is one. Body language, okay. 20% mechanics, 80% what? Charm. Mental, charm. Wow, this is a really smart room. I don't even need to be here. So you all are correct. And what really it boils down to saying, all of those things that had in common, was 80% is your psychology. So if you want to jot that down, everything in life is 20% mechanics, 80% psychology. And that is the 2 millimeter difference between the successful and the extremely successful. I would vet to say that all of you in this room as real estate professionals, one way or the other, are good, if not great, at what you do. Some of you might not feel that you're so good, but that's okay. That's more of a psychology thing, and we'll get to that in a second. But I'll tell you right now, especially with my generation, I'm going to be 30 this December. And, oh, thanks, the big 3-0. I know, feels different. Is that we are very big on building relationships. We're very big on being open and honest for the most part right now. And obviously with social media, everything is out there. Everything you do is out there. So psychology plays a huge role now, more than ever, in how you develop relationships. Not just with people of my generation, but just in general. That's the way society is going, right? So what I'd like you to do is, to the person next to you, you both can look at each other. If you don't have someone sitting next to you, maybe find a group of 3. I want you to choose one person to be person A, and one person to be person B. So go ahead and do that real quick. Just choose. Who's person A, who's person B? I'm going to have to be your partner, sir, since you don't have one. Or if you can join me, you have a friend right behind you. So person A, I want you in just the next 20 seconds, I want you to just introduce yourself to person B. If that's someone you already know, then tell them something new. Go ahead and go. Hello. You're gonna be there. What was your name, sir? James. Come here. Nice to meet you, James. Huh? You cold? No, actually, because I'm walking around so much. Are you cold? Want to wear your hat? Where are you from, James? Where are you from? I'm sorry? Taiwan. When did you move to the States? When did you move to the States? My family is from the Philippines. My father is Spanish Filipino, and my mother is German. I've never been to Taiwan, been to Hong Kong. Are you a realtor? Nice to meet you, James. No. Okay, great. So go ahead and wrap it up. We have some chatty Cathy, which is good. All right, so anyone want to explain? Okay, we're going to wrap up your introduction. Oh, I know you like each other. That's great. All right, so moving forward, if I can have your attention. Thanks, Brian. Anyone over here on this side care to share what did you learn? So anyone, I want to learn, what did you learn about person B?
I learned from person B that she's married to a really handsome guy. He's a really hard worker.
Oh, she's married to a handsome gentleman and a really hard worker.
Very motivated and passionate person.
Very motivated. So she talked mostly about her husband rather than herself?
No, actually, I did.
You talked about yourself rather than her. So for everyone on that side of the room, they're married. So. But really, what did you learn?
She's very passionate. She's very passionate. She's very
I can have everyone on the left side.
Hello.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
It's her first time here, and she's really excited about people and just energy here.
It's the first time here and she's excited about people and energy. Beautiful. Thank you. Great. Thank you, Ricardo. I mean, that situation is a little different because they're married, but the nice thing about that is they actually got to more of an emotional topic. He learned that she was excited about something. So that develops a rapport in a relationship rather than it just being about what you're doing here, where you're from, what's the weather. All those things are great, but unless you're at a weather conference, I challenge you to talk a little bit more about that. And that's what, I forgot your name, sir. What was that? Alberto. Alberto talked about, not understanding or not knowing what to communicate about or what to say. A lot of folks go into the quote-unquote small talk. And I cannot tell you how often I hear, I hate small talk. And I get it, because it's small. It's exactly what it is. It's not fun. It's not engaging. It's boring, right? Again, unless you're at a weather conference and you are passionate about the weather, by all means, do your thing. But that's the whole point. You want to find out what triggers people. What are they passionate about? And what's a good question? Alberto, if I came up to you and I said, what was the favorite thing you did last week?
I was in Barbados.
Oh, nice.
Training.
Fun.
And it was pretty awesome.
That is a really good thing to be passionate about. Okay. Any great places to visit? For sure, if you go to Barbados, you have to do this. What?
We went snorkeling and scuba diving a little bit, so
Oh.
I'm not really good with the names of the beaches, but it was good.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So based on that question is,
Sure.
what is the one thing that you like to do the most? It's something that really works for me a lot.
Yes.
And most people know exactly, and then I immediately ask them, so what's preventing you from doing more of that?
That's beautiful.
And then from there, the conversation just
Flows.
flows and
Right.
it becomes pretty good.
So number one on your list of things, as far as mechanics are concerned, is ask engaging questions. So that's number one. So, or make a big noise to get attention. That works. Whatever breaks up the pattern. And that's essentially what I just did in the very beginning, is you want to break a pattern. There would have been a very big difference if I came into the room thinking this right now. Oh man, I really don't want to talk today, I really don't want to talk today, I don't know if I'm going to say anything really, really good. And then I show up and my shoulders are slumped, and I'm talking to you like this the whole time, and I'm like, hi, my name is Kamille, we're going to be talking about networking today. I've already lost half of you in about 2.3 seconds, and I was just acting. I literally saw most of you go, huh, oh, right? But then I come in and I'm like, okay, I'm psyched for this, I'm going to be here to bring as much value as I can to these people, and then I pray to God that it works. And I come in, my shoulders are back, I'm smiling, I'm excited for you all. I have you all stand up with me, the energy raises, and I break your pattern of sitting there and just being passive. And what I hope to do is engage in a relationship with you to get you to think about these things of how do you now do the same thing when you walk into a room? How do you walk into a networking or relationship developing event? Are you engaging? Do you ask engaging questions? Or are you just simply being transactional? Hi, I'm this and this, I'm a realtor, and this is what I do, here's my business card, thanks, I work in this area, great. And you're hoping it's a numbers game. If I hit up enough people and do all of that, one of them will hit, hopefully. And you're probably right, that might work. But I will tell you, that's tiring. And it's not the best use of your talents or your time. Well, some of you say, but Kamille, I'm not extroverted. I don't like talking to people. I feel really awkward when I go into a room. I'll give you the quickest and easiest tip if you ever feel shy or awkward before you walk into a place. Take 1 second to take a deep breath in and put your shoulders back. Literally roll them back. That's it. How you use your physiology trumps your psychology. I'll say that again. How you use your physiology trumps your psychology. What does that mean? Don't use the word Trump runner? Okay, I'll find a new word on my next go around. Duly noted. Thank you, gentlemen. But basically what it means is your body fools the way that you think. So if I'm smiling right now, even if I had the worst conversation before I walked into this room, I'm going to think I'm happy. I'll give you a little insight. I started this thing called a morning ritual. And this has helped me a lot in preparing for my day, not just with business, but even in my personal life. And most of us kind of wake up in the morning and we rush out of bed. Or it sounds like this, the same way it sounded when you all stood up today. Oh my God, I gotta get up now. Okay, I hit the snooze. 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. It's such a beautiful way to start the morning, right? It's so great that you chose to start the morning that way. And not all of us do that. Some of us are really great. We jump up and we're good. We're energized. We get to the gym. We're psyched. We do the hot, cold showers. We do our affirmations. We do our breathing. Good for you. But all of that is really a choice. That's not something you're born with. That's something you're conditioned to do. We condition ourselves in a lot of different ways. And it's the same thing when you approach a relationship developing event. How did you condition yourself to wake up and walk to it? Do you literally talk to yourself like, this is going to be an amazing event. I'm going to meet 3 people this evening, And I think I'm going to develop really great friendships with them, if not, for sure, business relationships. And I'm going to be of value to them. Is that how you talk to yourself in your head before you go into an event? Probably not. Because we're not conditioned that way, right? So going back to my morning ritual, one of the things that I do, the first thing when I wake up in the morning, before I even step out of bed, is I smile like a fool, and I hold it for 20 seconds. Literally, or like this in bed. No, for 20 seconds. And I probably do look crazy. But after I did that for about 2 to 3 months, I kid you not, like my whole psychology just changed. Just from that act alone. I didn't change anything else in my morning routine. Just that. Woke up and I just started smiling. And then I got comments from friends like, hey, something's kind of different about you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. There's kind of this glow. And I was like, oh. They're like, you dating somebody? And I was like, maybe. Little did they know, I was just smiling in the morning. Or people at work would say, hey, you're getting really, really good at this. What are you doing differently? Smiling in the morning. But you know, it wasn't just smiling, it was what? Changing my physiology. And the psychology then followed. It's amazing how quickly that comes into play. So why am I telling you all this? Because I challenge you that other than the tools and the mechanics of having engaging conversation questions, make sure that you build rapport, all these things are very vague. But what I want you to really do is own your own physiology before you walk into these events, which will then change your psychology as far as how you want to get value out of it, but more importantly, how you're going to give value to other people. And thirdly, what is your intention when you actually go to these events? Are they the bane of your existence and you're going because you have to? Or are you choosing to? And you're truly saying, like, it's going to be a good event. I'm really excited for it. And even if it is boring, make it fun. Everything is your choice, always. So we're going to take you from good or great to excellent. And that's really the goal. With networking, but more importantly, with developing and building relationships. How many of you here have children? Say aye. Aye. How many of you here have a significant other, married, a partner? Say aye. Aye. How many of you here just have people in your life that you love? Say aye. Aye. Then you're all networkers. Right? Because you're developing relationships. Obviously, something came out of you to be able to develop a relationship with that person. And you're like, well, Kamille, my kids kind of don't have a choice. They have to love me. But at the same time, that's probably the hardest networking event you have to deal with. Because that's a very different relationship to navigate. So what I'm saying is you have the skills. You have the tools. There is nothing that you lack. You're always coming from a place of abundance. And if you want to write that down, that's a really, really powerful statement. I am always coming from a place of abundance. Because that's what really, truly begets wealth. If when you think you're abundant, your physiology shows that you're abundant, your psychology is going to change to abundance. Believe me, the money will flow. The people you will help will grow exponentially. It's not this magical, mysterious thing. It's tried and true. And there's a reason that people say, well, I know the mechanics, and I know the plans, and those are all really important. But they only get to good and great. And what did I say? I want to get you to excellent. Actually, you know what? I don't even want you to get to excellent. I want you to get to outstanding. And that's a whole different level. But what's the difference between excellent and outstanding? You say, Kamille, I have nothing left. I can't work any harder. I can't do any more. Well, that's the thing. You don't have to. It's, again, you're coming from a place of abundance. It's already in you. It's a 2-millimeter difference of changing your physiology when you walk into this room and you go to develop relationships. And from there, your psychology changes. You do become charming. You do become extroverted. You become magnetic without even knowing. You don't have to be extroverted to start a conversation. I know the most charming introverts simply because they're very comfortable with themselves, right? Yep. So the only mechanics that I can really give you today, again, it's not something you don't already know. That's why people call it aha moments, is because everything is just a remembering. It's an aha because it was already there. You're never learning anything new. Everything I'm saying right now is not something particularly new, but what it is doing is it's triggering something in you that you probably held down on for so long. That you've let your conditioning, your negative physiology of me sitting here and just kind of being like this, and oh, God, I won't be here again. Then that's exactly what you're going to receive from it. If you don't want to do a lot of business, then walk into a room and be like, oh, I've got to do this, fine. Then you're already coming from a place of lack. But you walk in and you say, look, there's 3 people at this networking event, and I'm going to make a one relationship that's going to be amazing. And you're excited about it. Something goes to work within you, and it'll happen. That's just how it all works. And I've seen it time and time again from all the entrepreneurs and all the small businesses that I've worked with. All the small businesses that I've worked with that have failed wasn't because they didn't have the right tools or mechanics. It was because their psychology was all wrong amongst the leaders. It was negative self-talk constantly. It was always badgering one another. It was always sticking to these cliches and these rules and these conditionings that didn't need to be there. Oh, well, it's this time of the season, so business is always slowing down. Is it? Then how come there's other people that are successful? Well, that's because of this, and that. Really? But last year they did great. Well, and there's a lot of wells and a lot of buts and a lot of justifications and a lot of stories. So what's your story? My question for you is, what meaning do you attach to these quote-unquote networking events? What kind of relationships do you want to truly garner from them? And next question, if you really want to get to the next level and you want to become excellent, the first thing you should always, I said say should, that I encourage you to say to yourself when you walk into these places is, what value can I give to these people? How can I serve them? Because the minute you give, oh, it comes back tenfold. It's incredible. And each one of you has absolutely something incredible to give. Oh, but I'm just a realtor. I mean, I do the same thing that everyone else does. No offense, that's BS. You know, a lot of people say to me, well, Kamille, my purpose, I feel like it's to do this and to do that. But that's the same as this girl's purpose. Like, I want to help people. I want to give. I want to, change the world, so to speak. But everybody says that. Yeah, there's a reason everyone says that. Because there's probably something at the core of each one of us that wants to do that. That's the reason you love people in your life. That's the reason you care for your children. That's the reason you are so passionate about the soulmate that you sit next to, or that you get to wake up next to every single day. Because each one of us, deep down inside, has always wanted to serve one another. But other things get in the way. But what's the difference then? So is it worthy to pursue my purpose if I feel like it's the same as everyone else? Yeah, because you know why? You're completely different than the person sitting next to you. Who you are will completely appeal to a different person than who I will appeal to. I mean, I don't know why I'm here today. There's a lot of things that happened in the universe and in the world that's brought me to exactly this point to speak to you, for you to hear this message. Whether or not you take all of it or you take one thing from it or nothing, but it engages you in a conversation with somebody else moving outside this doorway, it was meant for something. So again, I ask you, what is the story you attach to the networking events and the relationship scenarios that you want to develop in not just your business, but in your life? Look, somebody told me this one time, and it was really great. It's as if we say, this is my work self, my left arm, right? And this is my personal self, my right arm, my personal life. It's funny. We're like, well, I'm going to take the mic away, but you have 2 limbs, work and personal, 2 different people, right?
Should be the same.
Should be the same. Do I ever leave my house with one of my arms cut off? No, hopefully not. But you're attached. So why do we treat them like they're completely separate and isolated from one another? Well, because it's easier that way. I have my work self, and I have my personal self. And that distance in between, that disconnect, that's what causes stress. That's what causes anxiety and fear amongst all people. No, Kamille, that's not what causes anxiety and fear amongst me. It's the lack of money. Well, where do you think the lack of money comes from? Well, I'm not getting enough business. Well, where do you think the not enough business comes from? Well, the economy is really, really bad right now. Really? It wasn't bad for the person next to you. Well, he's getting so leg up in the competition because he's got this and this and this and that. Well, story after story after story. All to say, I don't feel good enough to do the same business that he does. And it's always this lack of, I'm not good enough. I am afraid I won't be loved. That fear that we were talking about, that holds us back from standing up because I don't want anyone to look at me. This is so weird and so awkward. No offense, honey. No one is looking at you. We are all thinking about ourselves in that same moment. That's another thing to jot down. People don't do things because of you. They do things because of themselves. So when you go to these networking events, you have your intention, your physiology is good, you know exactly what sort of value you're going to bring into a situation. Somebody doesn't receive you well. Don't take it personal. That's hard. That's a big lesson. I get that. But remember, people don't do things because of you. They do things because of themselves. Little did you know that person who's snapping at you right now just found out that they lost their best friend to a heart attack 5 minutes ago. Did you know that? Would you have reacted the same way? You never know the pain that people are going through. Most people who get angry and snappy are coming from a place of pain or a place of fear. So our goal, our psychology, our 80% of today's talk, and you're probably wondering, Kamille, what does this have to do with networking? That's exactly it. It's 80% of it is your psychology. So what I want you to understand, and what I'm hoping to convey, is to get the questions out of you to say, what is a story that I'm attaching to attending this relationship developing event? What value am I bringing here today? Who would I like to meet? You have every choice in who you want to do business with. If you don't want to work with, pardon my French, a-holes, honey, don't work with a-holes. It's that simple. Well, I have to because they're part of the business. Then change their state. Don't take it personal. Because obviously they're what? In pain. There's something there that's bothering them, but honey, that has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. You know your vision. You know your goal. You know your purpose. You know what value you bring to that situation. And even when you don't, and when you don't feel like it, you roll your shoulders back, take a deep breath, and you smile until you feel better. And you keep doing that, and you keep doing it. So here is the last of the little tactics, the mechanics, the 20% of today. If I could leave you with anything as far as, okay, how do you quote unquote get better at actual networking events, other than you becoming better. The networking events don't need to get better. The relationships that are developed through those things don't need to get better. It's you. It's me. Every single time. So I like to call this CAFE. It's an acronym if you want to jot it down. It's C-A-F-E. Imagine, like you're going to a cafe, you're sitting down with a friend, right? That feeling, it's super chill. It's you, it's totally you, rocking your hat. There's no change in that. And that's the most attractive person in the room, is the one who's magnetic because they are who they are. So, CAFE, C, it's clarity. Know who you want to serve and how many relationships you want to establish. Clarity. Know who you want to serve and how many relationships you want to establish. I want to specifically work with the age group of 29 to 38 in the San Gabriel Valley area that are looking to buy this type of home, and it's going to be their first time. And that's who I really want to serve, because that's who I resonate with the most. And I would love to meet 3 people today. That's a kind of a fun little game that I like to play. I go to an event, and I say, hey, I'm going to meet 3 people by the end of this. And then I actually, kid you not, it actually works out. I end up meeting 3 really fantastic people, or sometimes 4 or 5. But just play that game with yourself. Challenge yourself. You know, Michael Jordan didn't go to a basketball game saying, like, oh, man, I hope I make some points today. Like, he had a goal. He was like, I'm going to shoot, 60% from the three-point line. I'm going to have a 20% jumper here. I mean, he knew what he was going for. That was the difference between good, great players, outstanding players, and excellent rainmakers. So C is for clarity. A is authenticity. We covered this already, but it's really simple. Be you. And even more importantly, get to know them. And that's what Ricardo just did. I know that it's your wife, but in the exercise that you did from person A to person B, what did you learn about them? Did you ask, where was their favorite place to go? As the gentleman in the front, where he was from, and he told me Taiwan. Get to know them. So F in this is follow-up. So this one is key. This is where everyone drops the ball. Cool, I established a relationship. I've got a great friend. It's amazing. You didn't follow up with them, right? So get their contact info, and I really suggest you follow up within exactly 24 hours. And here's a little tip that I do. In my iPhone, you know how you have your Notes app? Does everyone have, or your Android, whatever the case may be. I actually have a couple templates. They're called text templates. And they're saying like, hey, this is Kamille, it was really great to meet you. Just in case you lose my card, here's my email and my phone number. Talk to you soon. I literally copy and paste and send that off to that person, so you don't have to think about it anymore, just in case. Because even if you got their contact info, guaranteed your card's gonna end up somewhere in their back pocket, the trash, the laundry, their dog's mouth, something like that, right? Happens to me all the time. So a really quick, easy way is shoot a text over, because more often than not, their cell phone's already on their card, right? Or do the same thing with an email template. I do that all the time. I kind of have a generic, hey, nice to meet you. I will always insert something of value, like I'm really glad you told me about your trip in Barbados. That was super cool. Let's get together sometime next week, I'll be in touch. You don't even have to establish anything there yet, but you just want to make sure you have that touch point, right? So again, that's follow-up. So you can use a text template, you can use an email template, but do something that automates your life and that you don't have to think about it. So copy and paste. If it's the same message you're sending over and over, but the key is to be consistent about it. And the very last thing is E, so what I call enthusiasm. Actually care and show it. Selling is transference of emotion, and people can feel when you're not interested, so make sure your interest shows. I'll say that again. So E is for enthusiasm. People can absolutely feel intuitively when you're into it and when you're not into it. They know. And selling is just transference of emotion. Selling is transference of emotion. I'm not trying to eyeball you, don't worry. Selling is transference of emotion, and people know when you're into it or when you're not into it. Again, it's the difference between me standing here and saying, thank you so much for having me today. Really glad to be here. So we're going to be talking about networking and how it's going to benefit your business. There's a couple tips and tricks. There's going to be 5 steps to how we network. And that's fine, if that's what I'm going for. But I genuinely care about your success. And more importantly, I genuinely care about your joy and your happiness. Why? Because you're a human just like I am. Doesn't matter what your relationship is to me, because I guarantee if you go out there and you deliver and you give value to whoever it is you want to serve in the highest possible version of yourself, your business, what you do, how you speak, how you communicate, how you live your life, how you raise your kids, all of these things will ripple wave effect back into my life. Because guaranteed, we will come full circle to today. Mark this day. It might not be next year, could be 2 years from now, but something will happen where we go, hey, remember that day on November 12th, 2015, when that girl came to speak and we talked about this? I met you. And remember we were talking about networking events? Isn't it funny that now we're both in business together and we've created this product just from having that conversation at that event, because we learned how to develop a relationship not just with each other, but truly with yourselves. Because again, the networking events, the relationship developing events, those don't need to get better. We do. The minute we do, the energy of the whole place changes completely. So with that said, I would love for person A, if you still have your partner with you, you're going to be listening now. So person B, with your shoulders rolled back, with a smile on your face, taking a deep breath. Oh, that's a very different feeling now. I want you to introduce yourself, speak to them, ask them a question, anything that comes to mind in the next 20 seconds. Go.
So I show my process. Today, the fashion is choose and give to your business. So a few
Okay, for the sake of time, let's wrap up these amazing conversations. Okay, I'm going to go over to the left side this time since the right side seems to be more active. I want to give the left side a chance to kind of show them up a little bit because I haven't heard anything on this side. Anyone wants to share what they learned about person A or B? Yes, you're out. No? Left side? Yes, right here. So we have everyone on the right side. Well, my right, your left, I guess. We have someone here who'd like to share. Go ahead.
Yes, I learned that Carol owns her own real estate company, and that before she was working in real estate, she was an auditor with the federal government.
Wow.
Wow, that's what I said. I was wow. So those were the two big points that I had never even talked to her before, and we've been coming on for years.
Oh, great. Wonderful. And what was your name?
Hortensia Ramirez.
Hortensia. So Carol and Hortensia.
Yes.
Thank you. So Hortensia, were you the one speaking or was Carol speaking?
She was saying I was the second person that spoke.
Okay, you were the second one that spoke. So Carol, how was her body language when she was speaking? Was she smiling? Was she open? Was she closed?
She doing excellent.
Oh, excellent. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
But you did give an energy where I felt that smile come to my face. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So for those of you who are in the back, I know you can't see the two ladies in the front, but very quickly before we wrap up, I will say that how you all introduced yourselves in the beginning of today, from person A to person B, was vastly different for most of you the second time around. You all looked a lot more open, the energy was different, you were smiling, and you were able to captivate into more engaging conversation, because who knows now what's going to happen here, knowing that, right? So, in honor of time, I simply want to thank all of you for being present with me, being patient with me, and just being here. And I know that I'm very, very, very excited for all of you on what you plan to do moving forward. Again, it's not something new. It's something you've already known. It's always a remembering, hence the word aha. And if any of you would like to learn more about, what I do, the wonderful real estate entrepreneurs that I get to work with, this is something that I do on a weekly basis in a different format, though. And it's every Monday at 3 p.m. in Old Town Monrovia. So I help to co-found a collaborative workspace for real estate entrepreneurs called The Think Tank. If any of you are interested, just let me know. I'll be hanging around for a couple minutes afterwards. It's open house. You all are welcome every single Monday at 3. But the biggest value that I wanted to give here today was just that gift. Was that gift that you have everything that you need. Sometimes you just kind of need a reminder from somebody to get you to pay attention. Whether it's a spouse, a spiritual leader, a friend, a random young woman that stands in front of us on our weekly meetings. Whatever it is, just know that this message was meant for you. Has nothing to do with me. And that the value you're going to bring into every situation moving forward is always your choice. And the quickest way to change your conditioning is to change your what? Physiology. Which will then change your psychology. And that's really what makes all the difference between outstanding and going to excellence. Thank you.